It is well known that artists who struggle with motivation and inspiration tend to drop their work for weeks or even months. It's just after a certain spark reignites their passion and retake an unfinished work or start something new. And we artists and musicians know how stressful is the feeling of wanting to create and express ourselves through our paintings or our music, but just being unable to do so. Maybe we have forgotten why we fell in love with art in the first place. Maybe we lack direction as to where we want our art to go. Maybe we need a little bit of discipline. Regardless of what the issue is, I guarantee these three anime will make you pick your brushes or instruments once again. The first anime, it's called Look Back, and is a movie about a couple of young artists named Fujino and Kiyomoto. Fujino is in charge of drawing a weekly 4-panel comic strip for their school newspaper, which is a precursor format of how Japanese manga started around 60 years ago. She soon finds out about a girl named Kiyomoto who also wants to draw her own comic strips in the newspaper. And when Kiyomoto's first strip gets published, Fujino is surprised to see how much better the artwork is. Since Fujino was often praised for her work by her classmates, she doesn't take lightly the shift in attention toward this new mysterious mangaka in school. What I love about this is that Fujino sort of starts a personal rivalry, and that pushes her to practice and study harder than ever to become a better artist. The movie beautifully explores how artists can push each other to grow and how each of their different strengths in art can complement each other. After this point, the movie delves into the reality of growing as an artist and working in the art industry. It explores the bonds we form through creativity and the challenges of staying true to our artistic vision. Without giving too much away, there's a moment later in the film where we see Fujino speaking with her publishing agency while anxiously moving her knee up and down. She's asking for a new assistant, but something about the conversation suggests there's something deeper than that. Something that I think many artists who work with someone else or in groups will relate to. To me, this scene powerfully highlights how the connections we make through art can be just as important, or maybe more, than simply creating successful pieces of work. And in moments of solitude, we may find ourselves missing those who inspired us the most. Reflection. Do you prefer to work solo or create with other artists? Is there anybody you've worked with who can never be replaced by anyone else? Do you miss making art with someone in specific? Next anime is my #1 favorite of all time. Even though I have a very personal connection to the third one I'm gonna talk about, Blue Period is the one that I keep coming back when I don't feel motivated, whenever I feel like everyone's art is better than mine. It's the one that I enjoy the most to watch, and I think is the one anime every artist should watch. Blue Period is about a high school student named Yatora Yaguchi, who is an excellent top-class performer with very great promises of being successful in pretty much all of traditional careers such as law or economics, that sort of stuff. But Yaguchi is not very motivated or enthusiastic towards any career in particular. Even his school counselor pushes him to make a decision. He watches football games with his friends, stay up late at night, and he's also a social smoker. Pretty much everything he does and how he feels is about pleasing everyone else's expectations of himself. My favorite scene of the series is actually in the very first episode, which is titled Awakening of the Joy of Painting. Yatora is not interested in art in general. He even thinks it's a waste of time, money, and resources overall. For his art project, he needs to paint what is called My Favorite Scenery, which he unsurprisingly takes a while to get a start on. He forgets his cigarettes in the art classroom, and when he goes back for them after school, he finds this beautiful giant painting made by another student from the art club that had quite an impression on him. Later that night, he goes out with his friends drinking and watching sports. They stay up all night until next morning. Once they leave the bar, Yatora realizes that Shibuya in the early morning is very different from other times of the day, describing it as quiet, calm, and blue. This thought sticks with him. When he's back at school, he meets another student named Mori, who turned out to be the artist who made that great painting from before. And this is my favorite scene of the series. Yatora tells Mori that she's very talented for painting something like that, as to what Mori replied.
やっぱり絵もやり方とか勉強することがあってね。手放しに才能って言われると何もやってないって言われてるみたいで。
That sentence changed Yatora's perspective on art entirely, and he gets very excited to ask her if she has ever perceived Shibuya as blue as he did. Mori replies she doesn't go often to Shibuya, but a teacher once told her, if it's blue to you, then let it be blue, whether it's an apple or a rabbit. And that same day, Yatora starts working on his art project, my favorite, scenery. This is the beautiful start of an artistic journey full of inspiring and relatable moments for any artist that is watching. And there are some other moments more particular to Yatora's journey only, which just makes it very exciting. This anime shows you that anybody who has the will of learning art can do it with practice and studying. Art is not just for a select few who were born with some kind of magical trait or gift. And this anime still made me practice piano every day, try to compose music more regularly, and start new projects. Even though the anime is not about music, and I think that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter what kind of art you do, you will find inspiration in this, I guarantee you. Reflection. What is the last piece of art you saw, listened to, or read that made you want to do your own art? Can you remember the piece of art that ignited the passion to start your artistic journey? Have you ever been told that your art inspired others to make their own? The next and final anime I want to talk about is probably one of the most popular, titled Your Lie in April. This anime portrays how deep trauma can remove from the very root the connection you have with your art, in this case, music. Kosei is a young classical piano prodigy that stopped playing after some events happened. It affected him to the point that he lost the ability to listen to his own music when playing, and even feel hatred towards piano in general. It's not until he meets a young violin player that would constantly challenge him and motivate him to rebuild his connection with music. There are many topics we could dive into and explore from this anime, but I have a very personal connection that truly made it resonate with me. I had a friend who passed away back in 2021. We can say she was the very first friend I've ever made. We've known each other since we were around 5 years old, and we would have these sort of streaks in which we would talk a lot and see each other frequently, mostly to eat a lot of pizza. And then we would spend months without saying a single word. But we weren't angry or anything like that. It's just how life flowed. We went to entirely different schools, had different groups of friends, so we didn't really have a lot of things in common outside of ourselves. Now, ever since I was a kid, I dreamed of dedicating myself to music. I thought that having a degree would make me an official musician, but unfortunately, there were no means for me to assist to a music university, nor that would have made me official anyway. The only option was to enter to my local university into the classical music program. Even though I love classical music, I already had some classical education from other teachers, and I didn't really like the way they teach music, in which everything has to be absolutely perfect and replicated just as the shit music in front of you shows. I didn't want to become a musician like that, so I went for a psychology degree. My friend, Daphne was her name. When we both entered to college, we were talking about our careers, and I remember her saying she disliked psychology a lot. It was the last career on earth she would choose to study or to dedicate herself to. Fast forward a few years, and I suddenly start hearing her talk fondly about psychology, eager to learn more and asking me lots of questions because she was trying to deal with depression and loneliness. She got this weird kind of degenerative disease, which ended up taking up her life. But she was struggling a lot with not being able to go out because of the pandemic, but also she was on a strict diet. Whenever she would feel weak or she would feel bad, a lot of close people wouldn't believe her. And regardless of that, she remained so strong and so optimistic. Every time she would have a weird test, she would laugh at how absurd and weird some of these were, or at the awful treatment from nurses or doctors. But there's something I will be forever thankful with her, and it's that no matter how distant we were at times, or how drastically her life changed after she got sick, she was always rooting for my music. She was probably the only person in my life that constantly asked about it. Have you written anything new? Learned a new song? Your new song is beautiful. You are a musical genius. She would say that, even though I'm far from it and my songs were just about decent. I always liked hearing those words from her. By coincidence, she passed away in April 2021, and 1 or 2 months later, I come across Your Lie in April. After I finished this anime, I knew I needed to take music more seriously. I had many stages of my life in which I had given up, but something happened each time that pulled me back into it again and again. This is where I decided to just never disconnect from music, no matter what. I quitted my job, and after a couple months, I started to receive ghost producing projects for lo-fi music or meditation ambience tracks. It's been 4 years since she passed away, and every time I play the piano, I write a new song or do anything related to music, I can't help but think about her and wonder if she would have liked what I did. I understood that I owe my dedication to music to myself and to her as well. This is my connection with this anime, and there are many things that can be talked about Your Lie in April. I believe that anyone who feels disconnected with their music or art, this for sure will help you find a way to reconnect, especially if you have someone like Daphne in your life. Reflection time. Does anybody come to mind whenever you are working on your art? And this can include pets too. Who are the people in your life who are constantly rooting for your art, for your paintings, for your music? And have you shown enough appreciation or gratitude to them? It doesn't matter if you're a musician, a painter, or a writer, or even just someone searching for a creative spark to start your artistic journey. I know at least one of these anime will give you something to think about, or they will remind you why you started creating in the first place. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me share these stories. Please let me know in the comments which one resonated with you the most, or if you have your own personal story to share. That would be amazing. And if you'd like me to go deeper into the teachings and stories of any of this, I'd love to make follow videos, so let me know that as well. Please leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more on emotional support for artists, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep on keeping on.